The triple Lindy.
Melon!
Melon!
I watched like a 10-minute hit of Rodney Dangerfield on Johnny Carson when Caddyshack came out.
Yeah.
And they played a clip of Caddyshack. I was rolling, man, because it was like he wasn't even a movie star back then. He was just a stand-up comedian.
And just a machine gun with the jokes, man.
Oh,
Just boom,
God.
here's one. Boom, here's another one. Boom,
Yep.
boom, boom.
And then Johnny Carson just like sat there.
Yeah.
And then Ed McMahon's like, and they don't even really talk. It's Rodney Dangerfield for
a dance.
another 10 minutes.
It's just a dance that they did. That is, and you're probably talking one of that one specifically because of the time frame, but, he was on there about 25 times, and each
You
one
know
of them was
who got on there a lot? That's sports-related? Bob Uecker.
Oh, yeah.
For some reason,
Plaid
Johnny Carson
pants.
loved Bob Uecker when he was a player.
Whatever happened to plaid pants?
They'll come back.
How many does Bob Uecker
Just like
own?
the mullets have come back.
Bob Uecker needs to get those pants back out there and start the trend all over again.
Turn those machines back on.
He's still doing it, right?
Absolutely. I just saw him the other day. He met with Paul Skeens. He was one of the reasons that I got into Harley Davidsons. He would come to Milwaukee, to Brewer Stadium, on a yellow Softail with his number on number 8 with a baseball on the gas tank, and he'd pull in. And so, I mean, he was big time into Harleys and stuff.
What a dude! Well, he's in the right place.
Yeah. If you didn't know, by the way, Harley Davidson, their headquarters and their factory is in Milwaukee.
So the Sox not those Sox, the White Sox, they're just having a year, man. They're
Getting sued. Tell me about this.
Yeah, so they're getting sued as well on top of they didn't lose last night. The game got suspended, so they didn't really play it. But
so they didn't get their 102nd loss.
They didn't lose. That's the main thing.
That's a headline.
They did have a gun go off in the stadium last year. Do you guys remember this?
I remember that.
It was like dropped behind somebody, and then it shot a lady. That lady is suing the White Sox.
And she should.
And she's probably going to win.
Yep,
a
absolutely.
significant amount of
You
money.
should have better security people, yeah.
So insult to injury, and I don't know which way, like whether it's an insult to injury on her injury and then they're going to be insulted, or the 102 to 130 games they're going to lose and they're insulted even more.
Yeah, they're going to lose probably 145, 150 if they even start to try to play the last 30 games of the season.
Unreal.
I don't think they're going to, though.
Unreal. Yeah, so that was in the White Sox news. I'm trying to track them as far as what is going on with that story on top of their losing. They are playing the Texas Rangers today. Hopefully, as weather permitting, they will be at home with the record of 31-101.
And I guess Grady Sizemore, who took over,
right.
He was actually working because he's made a lot of money in the game. And he was working a minimum wage job when they plucked him back and put him into baseball. And now he's worked his way back up to manager of the White Sox.
Oh, okay. So I thought you were saying, like, the White Sox needed a coach. And you're like, what's Grady Sizemore up to? He's working at the gas station down there. Call him up! Because, I know Grady Sizemore's a Cleveland Indian, Cleveland Guardian.
And he was an Expo before that. So when they traded Bartolo Colon to the Expos, Grady Sizemore, Cliff Lee, God, I can't remember who the other
All
cat
of these
was.
Expo deals are just full of Hall of Famers and All-Stars, man.
There you go. So that's how Grady Sizemore became an Indian.
Well, he's got an opportunity. That's all I'll say. He's got an opportunity, and I know it's a crappy team with no one to really root for, but Star Wars night's coming up for the White Sox here in a couple of days. He's got that to lean on, so is the whole community.
He was an intern for the Diamondbacks.
And
he was making $15 an hour.
Oh, my God. I would love to make $15 an hour. Come on, iHeart. Step up.
So he's doing an internship for Diamondbacks GM Mike Hazen because he doesn't need the money. So they probably were like, we'll give you benefits. We'll put you on the payroll. And then he networked over to the White Sox when they hired the new Grifol. And then he takes over for Grifol, and he's on the hook as the intern for the rest of the season.
It's like Gene Wilder said about comedy. It's all in the timing.
Gene Wilder, one of my favorites, by the way.
They're trash, man. There's such a sad excuse for a major league team. There are some really good major league teams. We'll have one here on these airwaves. I think the Yankees are pretty damn good. They did lose last night.
Didn't look great against the Nationals last night, that 4A team.
Yeah, 4A team. Yeah, Patrick Corbin played well. Now, it was talked about in the pregame as well. You know how much I love Susan's pregame, so I listened to every single one of them, and they were talking about Patrick Corbin possibly being a Yankee, and then the Nationals gave him that extra club deal, that extra year. So that's what sucked him back into the Nationals' graces, and he would be a setup guy or in the back end of the rotation. However, the Gray guy, Noah Gray, some other pitchers have kind of went down. So, like, they need him to eat up innings, and he's just going out there trying. He's 4-12 now with the win last night, still with the 6 ERA, much like my guy Kyle Hendricks, who you're watching pitch against the Pirates. Like, just these old guys are just trying to eat up innings, just trying to get teams through it so they can bridge to the next guy in the rotation, or what we're seeing with the Nationals the next year when they set up the rotation for 2025. But Yankees,
Corbin, when he was a free agent, again, this is whether you're Garrett Cole or any of these guys that come out as free agent pitchers, if you're one of the top 3 guys, you're going to make some big bucks. And
this is the Stroman deal. This Yankees went Stroman and didn't go Corbin, basically.
Yeah, so years ago when Corbin was coming out, I think he was coming from the Diamondbacks. You know, the Nationals threw a bunch of money at him, and but he's been injured and beat up ever since. And now that he's healthy and you don't have any other options, you're still paying this dude like $30 million per. So it's like $1 million a start for Patrick Corbin. And so when you face a lineup like the Yankees with some heavy hitting hammers from the right side, his fastball, his cutter, his changeup that dives away from them, it kept them off balance. And he was attacking Juan Soto last night. And I was watching this guy, and I'm like, this guy should have gotten traded to somebody. It was kind of like Jordan Montgomery last year. You get that guy, all of a sudden you get in the postseason, he becomes your number 3 starter. Rodon, by the way, goes for the Yankees against the Nationals tonight. Yep. And, you need this guy to finish strong going into the postseason. So Patrick Corbin, he's not going to the postseason, but he wanted to play spoiler last night.
I did bring up, now this is from St. Louis Fox News Channel 2, News Now. And they did have the story that you referenced before we went to break. Now, this is not, I hate to break it to you fellas, this is not the Cardinals making the tickets for free. They're playing the Padres here in this series, and the tickets were so undersold from the third parties like StubHub, Vivid Seats, those kind of guys, that the online third party was $0. You would still have to pay the processing fee for all that online jazz, but these guys, these third party dealers, just trying to give these tickets away. That is the sign of the times for the St. Louis Cardinals. Like, you know this fan base, man. They'll show up all year long, and they know all about the team. Very knowledgeable baseball people, but sometimes when you got a knowledgeable fan base, they know the kind of garbage you're trying to sell them, and they're not buying it.
No, not at all. And so, yes, they're $1 tickets, $0 tickets.
You got to pay something in order for the transaction.
The freight, and that's what those people are trying to get back. I wanted to give you Patrick Corbin's contract. It was $140.
Yeah.
He's a free agent after this year. $12 million, $19 million, $24 million, $23 million, $24 million. I'm sure some of this money's deferred.
Right.
And then $35,416,000 this year. So he will be a free agent after the season.
So he has no problem going out there with the 6 ERA and the 4-12 record. He is just fine with all that cash.
He can easily swallow his pride on the way to the bank.
We do have some winners today. Cubs beat the Pirates 14-10. 32 hits combined in that affair. Also a lot of hits in Kansas City versus the Guardians. Cleveland coming back on KC. 7-5 victory for Cleveland. 13 hits for them, 11 for KC, 24 combined. And the boys and I, man, are really high on the Guardians. going into September. Really
Well,
high on the Guardians.
Royals are right there, too, and the big story was last night in the 7th inning, Guardians reliever came in, and in 70 innings, he's got like 14 hit batters or something. It's crazy. He drills Bobby Witt Jr., so people thought they'd retaliate today. They didn't.
No.
Because they need to win. They're trying to win the division.
Witt had a home run, too, by the way.
Yep, Witt hit a home run. He wasn't hurt badly. Got his top hand, got his right hand somehow. And he went 2 for 5 today. His batting average is at .346, which is important because now that Judge is going into tonight's game, he's about 14 points behind him.
And they're still way ahead of the Baltimore Orioles, so the Yankees looking good there. And even if they did fall behind, they're way ahead in the wild card race, catching everybody up. The Boston Red Sox now 4 back from now. The Minnesota Twins are the team to catch in the AL. 4 back at 68-64. It did get the win last night. Hopefully they can keep that going. On the NL side, the Mets 3 games back. They beat the Diamondbacks last night in a big win for them. They're chasing the Bravos, Atlanta Braves, right there with 3 games up on them. My Cubs are hot.
Cubs are hot. They need to be hot. They want to stay in the playoff hunt. All right, we got to take a break real quick.
Yeah.
Bob Joyce joined us earlier. We talked some Big 12. It was a great discussion talking about whether or not he feels UConn sports need to be moved to a conference. So let's bring that to you. Bob Joyce, voice of the UConn women's basketball team, hockey, does pre- and post game for the football. UConn Sports Network's Bob Joyce next.